Okay, so I'm Mark Olson. My capstone, senior capstone, was on the rear axle assembly in my '92 Mustang. Power to the pavement, trying to get all the power I can. Just hit the side arrow. What about space? Try the space bar.
This thing here?
Yeah. Now it should. Okay, so my background, I worked with my dad when I was young. He has been ASC certified, so he knows it all and he knows that it's all right. I don't have to second guess him on anything. Taught me when I was young, me and my brother changing tires on our minivan in the driveway. That was always fun. Looked always challenging to me. I never thought that I would be able to grasp the whole automotive concept, and just seemed so complex and everything was going on. Then my junior year, once I got into automotive at Bowman, I have a really great instructor, Mr. Davis, who helped me along through this project. But he's if there was ever somebody to second guess my dad, I would say it's him, just because he has worked nonstop his whole life, and he just he knows it all. He really does. It's stuff that you just can't find anywhere else except from his own brain. This year I'm in Auto 2 as well, so this is my car on the lift when I started it at Bowman. That's in the garage. Go ahead. And so yeah, my learning stretch, I've never worked on the axle part of a vehicle until I got to Bowman this year. Even my first year I had never even touched on a rear axle housing. So I did get a research book which helped me out. It showed me a lot of steps, a lot of parts, a lot of tools that I would need. Then I finally got practice, and I started working on similar axles, in fact identical ones to the one that are in my Mustang. So that was a real plus at my school, and a real advantage that I took. I also asked as many questions as I could to my instructors, as well as my dad, but they worked on my car. They worked at Ford when my car was just rolling off the assembly line, so they know my car better than anybody else. So they knew what somebody else wanted. So I really wanted to just absorb all of their knowledge and experience. Resources. The internet is an awesome resource. Mustang forums, where a lot of Mustang guys can just get on there and ask questions, and other Mustang guys will tell them stuff and give them a lot of info. That also helped. There's some stuff that I didn't know that I had to get, which we'll get into in a minute. But my research book, that's the book that I got. Very helpful, even though I was only working on differentials, which is what this is here. And I'll get into the parts right now, actually. What I was upgrading was a differential, which is this. That splits the torque from the engine to both rear wheels. Also, it allows wheel speed difference. When you're taking a turn, the outside wheel on the outside of the turn needs to spin a lot faster than the other one, because it's a longer distance to travel. Otherwise, the wheel will just kind of hop on the road, and you don't want that. So differentials, that's what they do. This is a
I didn't touch it.
I think press the other arrow. Maybe I tapped it, but this is a ring and pinion gear set. That has a ratio to it, which I'll get into in a minute. But that just basically is a ratio of how many times your engine is turning for every rotation of your wheels. So it's just kind of how your engine connects with your rear wheels in the back. Lots of bearings in the rear end. A little difficult to describe where they're at and stuff, but this just kind of gives you a clue of the parts I was using. Okay, more on the differential itself. This is called helical gears. The way that these are cut, it's a helical cut. It's a lot stronger than stock, which is straight cut, and spider gears, which is hard to explain, but I have a picture later that I'll show. But this splits the torque, like I said, from the engine to the rear wheels evenly. However, with this, you can see with these red arrows here, those are forces that are being generated from the gears as you're accelerating. Now these forces are they're going opposite, so they're canceling each other out when you're going in a straight line. Now when one torque is different on a wheel, say you're on ice and one wheel starts to spin less and gets a little bit less traction, then this force will go down, causing this one to inversely go up, which creates a torque sensing effect, which is basically, it's kind of a hard concept, but it's taking advantage of the tire with more traction, as basic as I can put it. So that's the way that these gears are designed to work. Really good in Colorado. It's helped so far tremendously in the snowy conditions and stuff, which I experienced last night. So yeah, this was the most expensive part of the project. Obviously really solid. That's the exact cutout of it, so obviously an awesome piece of work. Next one, please. My point of view, like I said, the helical style cut, the way those gears are cut, they're stronger than the stock application. They're better for icy conditions, dirt, whatnot. Never needs servicing. This differential, old differentials have clutch packs, which are also hard to explain, but in other words, you got to change the fluid on them every 60,000 miles, and you need to make sure that they're in good condition and inspect them every now and then. That style, though, never needs to be checked. It's good to go for the rest of the life of the car, at least for as long as I'll own it. So, the 410 gears, that's another kind of concept that's hard to grasp, but 410 is a ratio, meaning the engine is spinning 4.1 times for every time the rear wheels spin once. So the stock ratio was 2.73. So if you can imagine the engine spinning twice in one rotation as opposed to the engine spinning 4 times in one rotation. Obviously the engine spinning 4 times is more power being crammed into each rotation, if you can kind of understand that. So getting more engine rotations in one rotation of the tire causes better acceleration, and it actually brings your vehicle to cruising speed a lot quicker. And a lot of people say it can affect your gas mileage, but in a bad way. But I've kind of found that it's almost been the same, if not a little bit better, because I am at cruising speed a lot faster now that my rear wheels are spinning easier with the rotations of the engine. Performance, obviously it's good for racing and whatnot, but I haven't really tested that out. Actually, I lost my 4th gear in my transmission the day I got these all put in there. So I have a 3rd gear now, which is just droning at a high RPM, causing my MPG to go down. So I have seen an effect on miles per gallon, but only because of my transmission that I've seen so far. Once I get my tranny fixed, I'll really be able to see the changes and impact on MPG, but I'm still kind of waiting on that. Next one. My product, the teardown process. There's a teardown process, a cleaning process, and a rebuilding process. Teardown, you drain the fluid. Here's the original gear. You can see that this is a little bit thin as opposed to the new one, which I'll show you. That's me taking out, this whole thing will come out as a whole unit. Stock axle seals, kind of hard to explain if you're not into cars, but basically this is what it looked like when I took off the cover and drained the fluid. Next one. My thing wasn't too really dirty. There weren't a lot of little metal bits in the fluid or anything, so it wasn't that bad to clean. But once you clean it all and you clean the whole housing, you blow it all with air and make sure everything's dry. This is just me kind of taking out some of the seals and bearings. This is what the clean differential looks like right before it was going into my car. Next one. The rebuild process. This is where I put all the new parts in. Like I said, here's the new ratio, the 4:1, the 4.1 to 1 ratio. That's the new gear set that we were installing, as well as the differential. This part is this is very challenging. I didn't get it at first, but what I'm doing there is I'm putting a small spacer in between. There's a small gap back here that you can't see, but I'm measuring the spacing and making sure that that is the right spacer, which will the gears need to be correctly spaced, because if they aren't, then the pattern won't, it'll wear a lot faster, or you can have problems down the road. Next one. Finishing the job, here's the new ring gear here. You can see it's a lot thicker than my old one because of that ratio, which means more teeth and whatnot. New differential in there as well. Like I said, that little spacer, that affects this pattern here, which you can see that's where the teeth are meshing with each other. So you really want a pattern right in the center of each tooth, which it is. That's a perfect pattern, the best pattern I've ever seen. Here's a new seal that's in there. So it looked pretty good. Everything lined up great. There weren't really any problems. Next one. However, there were a few problems. This isn't out of my car. This is what I was talking about, as opposed to the helical cut. This is a straight cut. There's spider gears. You can see how that's not as, it wouldn't be as strong, easy to chip. This is actually out of my buddy's Mustang, which it has the same parts in it. But you can see all these teeth are shredded. There should be a whole other gear here that's completely shredded and gone, all chewed up and in the fluid, in the gear fluid. So that's what I was scared for. I didn't know if mine would look like that when I took off the cover. It didn't, thank gosh. It looked really nice. It wasn't abused. But yeah, this was actually a wrong part that I got from a guy that I met at Sonic. So, I mean, a problem, you definitely need the right parts. It didn't go in the right, once we went to put this in, we were like, oh crap, this is for a completely different car. So, yeah, that wasn't good. I had to order something offline like real quick that night. But also tools at Bowman, a lot of kids kind of can take parts, which is unfortunate, but the seals the seal drivers and whatnot that we needed weren't all on hand. They just disappear around that shop, you know, which is inevitable with high schoolers and stuff. But if I had all the proper tools that I needed, the job would have even been a lot crisper than I had initially planned, even though it was perfect how it went. Next one. What I've learned more than what a book can teach. My instructor and my dad as well, they have knowledge and experience, which a book doesn't have. They can't teach you experience and things that you've seen out in the field. Gains in performance, like I said, I haven't been able to test it because of my transmission, which is unfortunate, but I also need to keep practicing on rear ends, on axle assemblies, or else I'll just kind of, the knowledge will fade away. So I need to keep going from here, which I intend to do. My future plans, I'm still working on my car. I'm working on the transmission right now. It will be going in at Bowman this week on one of those lifts, probably that same lift that it was on in that picture. And I'll be attending CSU in the fall for automotive engineering, which I plan to go down the road. Also, hopefully owning a shop in the future, maybe a shop that does axle assemblies, because for that reason, a lot of mechanics tend to shy away from axles and stuff because it's a hard concept to grasp. I know this is a lot of information that I've thrown at all of you, but as you can see, it's difficult to grasp at first. So I'm really interested in that, and maybe owning a shop that has to do with that. That would be great. Next one. My works cited. There you go. I hope that it holds up. So far it has just over 2,000 miles on the new gears. It's been perfect, no problems, so it's going great, and I'm really happy with what it's done for me so far. And then once my transmission's in there, we'll explore it even more. So thank you.
Thank you, good job. Good job.
Thank you.
You look so cute.
My guy never showed up.
12:41. You came just in time, Chris.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I'm glad.
Oh, yeah, I've already done that.
Oh, well, yes, all along.
We can do that.
And Mark, may I say that how much I appreciate as a neighbor, how quiet you go down the street, and then you roar it when you turn the
Yeah.
corner.
Is it pretty quiet? I
Yeah,
was
It's
wondering.
very quiet going down the street.
Questions,
Unlike a